It's a beautiful good morning and a warm welcome to Camnet TV's breakfast show today, the Friday edition. The host, I am Captura Afias, and in the studio, I am with Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Afias. How are you this morning? It's a Friday.
It's a Friday, yes.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure as well to be with you today. We're looking up to a very fantastic discussion this morning. It has been an eventful week.
It has
been an eventful week. Every time something comes up, especially yesterday.
A lot happened.
We had government speaking. We had the Qua Alliance speaking. We had OSIDA also speaking. It's an awesome show that we have this morning.
And we only wait for our viewers to keep on joining us because we have a lot lined up for them, especially since I'm a political enthusiast. We had the PF yesterday, like you said, OSIDA also, drama in OSIDA, where now we have seen civil rights activist Mr. Brebna Changala and our clergyman Bishop Teles Mpundu walking away from OSIDA. But these are many more stories.
No, they didn't walk away. They are being requested to walk away, actually.
They're being requested to walk away.
Yes.
Now, I was looking at the daily tabloids, the affairs. I listened to our news yesterday. Then this morning I was looking at the different daily tabloids with different headlines. They said they're saying they've walked away. They said they're saying they've chased them. So anyway, we'll bring the viewers up to speed.
Yeah, and we'll get to confirm basically from them if they have decided to walk away from the same organization. Just right about now, we go into our first segment, which is the health segment. As you know that health is our everyday concern.
Hi, welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. So this week we are talking about breast cancer, and we've been talking about some of the signs and symptoms, some of the risk factors of breast cancer, and also how it's diagnosed and treated in the hospital. So we say that breast cancer is a condition where there is a mass or a lump growing in the breast that is cancerous, and usually it happens in people who have a family history or who have inherited a gene from their parents or their grandparents that predisposes them to have this condition of breast cancer. And we also say that breast cancer can happen in both men and women, and it can be very fatal if a man has breast cancer. However, breast cancer can also be caused by other risk factors such as exposure to radiation and even age as well. So if women are older than 50 years of age, they are at risk of having breast cancer. We also say that some of the other risk factors are that if a girl child experiences her menstrual cycles early before the age of 12, she is at risk of having or developing breast cancer. The other thing is women who have their menopause after the age of 55, they also increase the risk of having breast cancer because of the increased exposure to the hormones, the estrogen hormones. So these are some of the risk factors. Also, taking alcohol, drinking, smoking can increase the risk of having breast cancer. The other thing that we talked about are the signs and symptoms, and we say that some of the signs are that you would notice a lump or a mass growing in the breast, and one breast will usually be bigger than the other breast. Then you would also notice some changes in the skin. Usually there would be some change in the skin color and also just the appearance of the skin of the breast. So you might see some orange peel appearance on the breast, which we call peel d'orange. So if you notice any of these things, then make sure you go to the hospital as soon as possible. Also, if you have any nipple discharge, if you notice any discharge from the nipples, usually you would have a bloody discharge. There are so many discharges that come out of the nipple, but if you notice any discharge that is abnormal, then make sure that you go to the hospital and get checked. Then we also talked about some of the treatment options and diagnoses. We say that breast cancer can be diagnosed in the hospital using ultrasound, using MRI, and even using a needle biopsy, because that's the only way that we can be able to confirm if it's cancer. So a needle biopsy is very important for you to do. If you are found with a mass in your breast, make sure you do a needle biopsy, or to do a biopsy of the mass to be able to check what type of cells does that mass contain. Because if it's cancer, then you need to get treatment for cancer. And the treatment options include radiation therapy, chemotherapy, hormone therapy, and also other drugs as well that are just used for breast cancer, and also surgery, which is used to remove the mass and prevent it from growing back again. So what are some of the ways that you can prevent yourself from having breast cancer? What can you do at home to prevent yourself from having breast cancer? Number one is that if you take alcohol, make sure that you reduce on how much alcohol you're taking. If you can stop taking alcohol, then even better. But it's recommended that at least you reduce on the amount of alcohol that you take. For women, at least just take 1 glass of wine in a day. That's recommended for you. But if you take more than that, then you are increasing your risk of having breast cancer. Also, smoking is a risk factor, so make sure that you stop smoking. If you smoke, stop smoking, because that is one of the ways you can prevent yourself from having breast cancer. Also, be physically active. So for women who do not exercise or do not like to exercise, you need to start exercising. You need to consider exercising. Do something that you love to do, whether it's running, jogging, whether it's walking, whether it's dancing, whether it's biking, swimming. All those are options that you can be able to consider to be able to keep your body physically active. The other thing is, if you're obese or overweight, make sure you reduce your weight, because that increases the chances of having breast cancer. Eat a healthy diet. Eating a healthy diet cannot be overemphasized. You need to be able to eat healthy. Eat your vegetables, eat your fiber, reduce on your fat, especially the saturated fats from animals and from processed foods. So make sure you eat a healthy diet to be able to keep your body healthy. The other thing that you can do is to be able to know exactly if you have breast cancer at an early stage, is to do breast self-examination. So you'll be able to check your breast every month, at least once in a month. You check your breast to see if there are any lumps, any masses in the breast. And if you do not know exactly how to do the breast self-exam, make sure you go to the nearest clinic or to the hospital and ask for a healthcare worker to explain to you how the breast self-exam is done, so that you can be able to check your breast every month, actually, so that you can be able to check your breast every month. And if you notice any changes in your breast, you can quickly go to the hospital. The other thing that you can do is for women who are at least at the age of 50 and above, make sure you do breast checkups every 2 years if you are older than 50 years. So make sure you go to the hospital and get yourself checked, and check your breast with the hospital or the doctor at the hospital every 2 years at least. And if you have a family member who has had breast cancer, whether it's your parents or your aunties, your cousins, any relative that has had breast cancer, make sure that you even start earlier than that. So you can even start at age 30 or at age 40 to check your breasts, so that you can be able to catch this condition early and get treatment as soon as possible, because it can be treated if you catch it very early before it starts spreading to other parts of the body. So that is what we had for you today. I do hope you have learned something. Make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of your body, exercise, eat healthy, and stop smoking. Don't drink too much alcohol, and do breast self exams at least every month, and you'll be able to prevent yourself from getting breast cancer. So I do hope you have learned something, and make sure that you watch again next week when we'll be talking about something completely different again. So make sure that you also watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfaya Siameka if you have missed any episodes here on the Health Corner, and to be able to find all the things that we have been talking about here on the Health Corner. I'll see you again next week. For now, take care and God bless.
Hello there, you're watching Camnet TV Breakfast Show, and that is our health segment there, just giving us tips in terms of breast cancer prevention. It's very important. These are one of the common illnesses that are around there, and breast cancer is among the killers, especially of our women.
Too much, and it's good that those that are tuned in this particular morning are able to learn one or two things from our resident Dr. Afias.
Oh yeah, right about now we move into the money markets. We see how the kwacha is faring with other convertible currencies this morning. There you have it. The US dollar is buying at 24 kwacha 67 ingwe, selling at 25 kwacha 16 ingwe. The euro is buying at 26 kwacha 90 ingwe, selling at 27 kwacha 43 ingwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 32 ingwe, selling at 1 kwacha 34 ingwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 31 kwacha 49 ingwe and selling at 32 kwacha 11 ingwe. Those exchange rates as at 7 this morning. It's very important to note that these exchange rates, they do vary from bank to bank, and they are not static. Rather, they vary from this minute to another.
Okay, so there you have it, and you could see obviously that the kwacha is not too stable, but we continue hoping and wishing that it's going to begin to perform favorably against other major convertibles.
Yeah, that has been the expectations of the market, but however, it is on the upward trend. We just hope that the business environment would favor the country, and also that our kwacha would gain some strength. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Now it's good to know that Honest N Siakaumbi is watching us from Lusaka West, Kalundu. He says so. Now getting into our story, confusion has rocked a civil society organization. Our Civic Duty Association, or CIDA, as it has distanced itself from the purported letter to the U.S. Embassy seeking financial sanctions for some top Zambian government officials. We have details in the following report.
On Friday, 8th March 2024, a letter addressed to the U.S. Ambassador to Zambia, Michael Gonzalez, and signed by our Civic Duties Association, or CIDA chairperson, Archbishop Emeritus Telesfo Mpundu, calling for financial and travel sanctions on Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema and other top government officials for alleged violation of human rights that are eroding democracy in the southern African country emerged. This saw various stakeholders ask questions about the move, but in the turn of event, some members of OCIDA have distanced themselves from the letter written to the U.S. Embassy in Zambia. Addressing the media Thursday, OCIDA founding trustee Leslie Mbula says most of the statements issued by the OCIDA chairperson have been done without consultation, and the case was the same on the purported letter to the U.S. ambassador. In the letter to the embassy, Emeritus Archbishop Telesfo Mpundu said, apart from President Hichilema, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, Chief Justice Mumba Malila, Inspector General of Police, Grafael Musamba, and Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwembu must be punished on alleged abuse of rights, but the senior trustee, while calling on the Catholic Church to protect Emeritus Archbishop Mpundu, advised him to resign and warned civil rights activist Brebna Changala from alleging that he is a member of OCIDA when in fact not.
We therefore wish to respectively request the Emeritus Archbishop Telesfo Mpundu to consider retiring from the leadership of OSIDA. He has played his part, which we appreciate very much. It's now time to pass on the mantle. We would like to take this opportunity to call upon the leadership of the Catholic Church in Zambia to protect the name and integrity of the Emeritus Archbishop Mpundu from abuse by some opportunistic individuals.
Meanwhile, OSIDA Executive Secretary discloses that Emeritus Archbishop Telesphore Mpundu and Brebna Changala are being used by an invisible hand and will investigate the matter, maintaining that the controversial statements are not agreed upon by the association.
There's something that is happening which is not his alone. He must have some force behind him. We are yet to find, and it's good that you're asking us such questions, because now we'll speed up our investigations to find out exactly who he's working with.
Well, skeleton. So when we see those statements are coming, first of all, why go to statements when our house is not in order? We need to find the other trustees, because OSIDA is held in the trust. So we are saying those statements have no blessings, because at no point did you agree that any of us should issue statement. Yes, we can issue statement. We have been engaging government, we have been engaging other stakeholders. Even right now, that's why we've engaged you here. We are the bona fide members of OSIDA.
But when reached for a comment on the denouncement by the OSIDA members, Brebna Changala declined to comment, while Emeritus Archbishop Mpundu's phone was unreachable. Earlier, State House Chief Communications Specialist Clayson Hamasaka advised OSIDA not to drive the country into lawlessness by fostering division among citizens, and indicated that the latter is marred with falsehoods. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, so that's the drama there emanating from our Civic Duty Association, commonly known as OSIDA there, where the trustees, the committee members are saying something else, and the purported authors of the letter, Archbishop Emeritus Mpundu and Mr. Brebna Changala, unfortunately they couldn't be reached for a comment on that particular matter. Afias, how do you look at this issue? I smell a rat.
Well, it is a well, I don't even have a word to use it, because you know, since its formation around 2020, OSIDA has been speaking in one voice, and this is the first time that the group is cracking, maybe so to say. And it shows the divisions. These divisions are emanating from the political atmosphere in the country. If you try to observe what happened yesterday, is that also the other political parties under the newly formed Qua Alliance, they were supporting the letter that they wrote to the American embassy, not to speculate, but just these are just events that are happening. When just observe like that what is happening, and you see that from the other group also, that is a pushback from the direction that others have taken. But we wait to see, and also to wait and see what their investigations are going to reveal, because in that report they're talking about investigations, what they are going to find out from those investigations. We'll have to follow up the story. But it is interesting because OSIDA, you can remember that before 2021 they spoke strongly on issues that were affecting the nation, and they were one of the prominent voices talking against the then administration of the Patriotic Front. This time around they are divided. Wow, it's
what has changed? Maybe that's a question. What has changed?
No, I think it's just the perspectives and the opinions among the group members that have changed. And like from what they have said, is that they didn't consult. They are saying that they issue statements, but these statements should have the consensus of the group. So also what we should be questioning is that why is others not consulting the group before they issue the statements?
Before they issue a statement.
That might be a problem.
And there were accusations there. We could see that the lady that is she a committee member, Madam Eularia Zulu, who was saying that there's an invisible hand. Now my question is, That invisible hand is it political invisible hand, forcing people to write letters? We need information, and like you are saying, we need to follow this story to the latter affair, so that we establish who actually authored that particular letter that didn't have any blessings from other OSIDA members. Because if you are going to agree on issuing a statement, even as an organization, even as Camnet TV, if we are going to agree to issue a statement, it has to be collective. Right? But where you find that other members are saying, yes, we do issue statements, but this particular one, we are not aware that it was being issued, and it doesn't have the blessings from the association, that raises eyebrows. And saying that at broadcast time, Mr. Bremna Changala's phone went and answered, then he didn't have a comment. He couldn't comment on the matter. And also the bishop, his was off. I think we need to get to the bottom of these affairs and find out, where are these issues emanating from? Is there dissatisfaction from within OSIDA? What was the arrangement when OSIDA was being formed? And we could see that it spoke, like you are saying, it spoke strongly against the previous administration. Now, my bone of contention, before we go to the next story, Afias, is that of encouraging the US to impose sanctions on Zambia. Now, not so long ago, I think last week,
on some individuals, the
president,
the chief justice among them,
the speaker, the IG, to impose sanctions and the like. Not so long ago, there's a statement from, is it VDEM, which indicated that Zambia is one of the 3 top democratic countries. Now, if there was a report that was issued that Zambia is democratic, then we have a civic organization that is calling for sanctions. And you have a party or an organization, an alliance that is also supporting to say these sanctions should be imposed. And also, this group of individuals are people who normally call this particular administration as puppets to the imperialists. But you are telling the same imperialists again to impose sanctions on their puppets, allegedly puppets. So for me, I think politicians have got a way of confusing the masses deliberately.
Double standards.
Double standards and flip-flopping on purpose. And I think moving forward, we need as a country a new crop of politicians that are objective, that know what they want and know what they say, as opposed to you say this, tomorrow you say the other thing. So for me, it's confusing.
The issue of supporting, taking a stance when it favors you, in as much as human beings we are rational, I think we need to be objective. The truth should be the same.
Yes.
If you stand for this and the other day you stand for that one, it doesn't help. As you have said, you confuse citizens, and that is why at times we delay development, because we are debating at almost everything. Even things that we're supposed to agree in an instant, we are debating. I think that the direction it should be known, and it should be at least of reason even to ourselves as a people. We can't be supporting something because it favors you. When you go into that position, you support it. You leave, you don't support it.
You don't support it.
I think that's not for development.
And when you talk about that, affairs, the sidebar, is it the sidebar? Let me quote what I read from Mr. Sean Tembo, the PEP president. His objective, he has said he will join the Qua Alliance in spirit. Then obviously, maybe in future he might join the alliance. But I'll get his words. There were, when we last attended his press briefing, the last press briefing he had, I think it was, yes, the last press briefing he had last year, he said, alliances in Zambia, the reason why they do not work, it's because of egos. People who do not even have secretary generals, they do not even have vice presidents, they also want to be presidents. So he talked about egos. Then in these WhatsApp blogs from his social media platform, his Facebook page, he said, he observed something, Mr. Sean Temple. He said the UCA chairman, referring to Mr. Sapiwa Scota, Leonard Council, he said he was talking about the cyber crime not being a good law. However, the person that signed it into law was seated right next to him, referring to former President Edgar Lungu. So you see that the former administration are complaining about the cyber insecurity law, but they're the ones that signed it into law. You get my point? So this particular administration, obviously, they are just implementing what they found. What was signed already. You get. It's more like the Miaule market issue. 2019, it was signed. It was done. This particular administration...
In fact, it was signed in 2021, but they entered the days in 2019.
Okay. So now, they come into the effect, what was signed, the blame is on them. So, I think like what you're saying, Afias, this issue of saying, if it favors me, it's okay. If it doesn't favor me, then it's not okay. And when you talk to politicians away from the cameras, they'll tell you, no, even if somebody is doing the right thing, I can't support my opponent. I'll never like.
That's interesting, and maybe we can get a response from government. We are aware that government also did a press conference yesterday where they were discussing a number of issues, including the Qua Alliance and also the letter that was written to the American embassy.
Okay, so we do have a story here, obviously quoting the Chief Government Spokesperson, Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa. Now, Information and Media Minister, Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa, has expressed deep concern over the increasing efforts by opposition members and civil society groups to tarnish the current government's reputation. Speaking during a press briefing, Mr. Mwetwa says government is shocked at individuals' attempts to spread hatred despite Zambia's improving democracy. We have details in the following news clip.
Thursday 14th, 2024, the Ministry of Information and Media Minister and Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa addressed the media on various issues of public interest. Speaking during the briefing, Mr. Mwetwa says the alleged letter written by Archbishop Telesfo Mpundu is disheartening, seeing that he is a man of God loved and listened to by the people. He says government respects his opinion, but it should not be used to mislead society.
We expect that he must exude as a man of God. Rather, he has positioned himself as one to be used as a catalyst and agent of division and misinformation in the country, which is very, very unfortunate. And we agree with the Secretary General of OSIDA when she questioned where Bishop Mpundu was in the last administration when all manner of violations of law, all manner of violations of human rights were being orchestrated, only to surface now and be at the center of championing information which cannot be substantiated.
The minister has urged citizens to support the UPND administration because Zambia today is better than it was 2 years ago in terms of democracy. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa has also assured the public that the country is currently food secure even after the declaration of a national disaster was made.
We are food secure for now. And that the president has directed that FRA should rush into the marketing season to ensure that whatever maize has been locally produced, FRA should be on hand to mop up that maize, and therefrom those statistics should give us the window of maize, possible maize deficit in the country, which then would leave us with no option but to look into the import window from the neighboring countries, those that have already expressed willingness and readiness to export to Zambia. So there is no contradiction whatsoever.
Cherish Siwote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, so that's the Information and Media Minister there and Chief Government Spokesperson, Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa, who also happens to be Choma Central Member of Parliament, giving government's position regarding the matter that has to do with a letter that is allegedly, which was allegedly authored by Archbishop Emeritus Mpundu. I'll tell you something, Afias. I've sat with Archbishop before. The man is wise. He's intelligent. He's brilliant. For me, I feel, all things being equal, I highly doubt if that letter was really authored by him, as saying the words, then somebody's typing it or getting a pen and writing that letter. I highly doubt it.
Well, we just wait for him to comment. What is important that government has responded to that, and also talking about issues of food security, which are very important, especially now that we are in the state of national disaster and emergency. As you are aware that many districts of the country have been affected by the El Nino-induced drought. We are food secure, but what we expect to see is to see those words on the ground. Especially that the Food Reserve Agency should be doing the community sales of the commodity and also leaf food. Because recently I was in Chirundu, in southern province. The complaint there was about hunger. This one will tell you, we are just having one meal. I'm aware that the government has commenced the sales of community sales under the Food Reserve Agency, and also the distribution of relief food. That should be done, I think, wherever there is need, if those sentiments by government are going to be believed by citizens. Talking about that, I have a story here regarding mini meals. Some residents of Lusaka's Kanyama compound have appealed to government to establish additional access point for ZNS mini meal. A check by Camnet News revealed long queues of individuals waiting to purchase the ZNS mini meal. Lydia Piri, a resident, disclosed that many of the people crowding Tafika Mall for ZNS mini meal come from distant areas like Mumbwa. Let's get to that story. I have an interesting thought about this one. Let's get into that story.
Okay.
Share just out.
Okay.
October 15th, 2023, government through the Zambia National Service embarked on an initiative to release affordable mealie meal on the local market. The move is aimed at cushioning citizens from the ever-increasing price of mealie meal. The ZNS mealie meal available at a price of 230 for a 25 kg of breakfast and 190 for a 25 kg of roller mealie meal, compared to other brands which remain unstable with prices ranging from 300 to 360. The slight reduction of Eagle's mealie meal has continued to draw masses, but accessibility is a challenge. Some residents of Lusaka's Kanyama compound have been spending several hours on queues, waking up at 04 to get a chance to purchase the essential commodity.
Ubunga bureche bo barereta abantu barefula barekwariza bati 1000 abantu ubunga bareta fili mitrakimu so ubunga burekwaika sana ubunga barereta cyo kwingi amatraki nangu yatatula ngo 4 abantu nabafula kuti abantu barende kula mu mutende kula bwerera mu fili muri ko ati ubunga bwapo ubunga bwapo urajera 05 umuntu no stop ubunga
iwano kula kamozi uchoma the whole day parain ngwembeka beka unga kamozi Instead of that, you are going to go from the hundreds. My sister, when I went to my farm, was a station now. You have to miss what Peregrako. Lantuachoka Kuchonga Gulaunga from Choppies. Latoka Kumu, Wapolo Gulaunga. Nice Evacun. My example is a quality of branch. It's a survivor branch. Masaka station, Nave Kuja, walk to the wave at least to a Filako Paso.
Other residents say the limited access point is making it difficult for people to access mealie meal. The same can be said for Lusaka's Mtendere Munali constituency. One of the residents in the area, Paul Mwape, has advised government to distribute mealie meal at least twice in a week to avoid scramble for the commodity being witnessed.
One at least bed.
not 55 66 ni shivena ngoswagula beta wagula ko mozi and after nina family 7 pa nyumba tikula ungawa 3 bags per month tizakwanisa bwanji
mailing at least twice or thrice a week, then people will be free there. Not whereby they stuck here on the queue doing this and that. That won't make.
Prudence Chebwe for Camnet News, Lusaka.
You are watching Camnet TV, and in the studio it is me, Afias Kaptula with Joe. Those are some of the stories we're zooming in this morning. That story is about the Eagles brand ZNS mini meal being distributed in selected shopping malls. Comrade, the thought that I have about this program is that it is a noble program, but what I've observed personally, you know, I stay in Kanyama. I'm a Kanyama resident. And what I have observed is that some citizens, they have made that mini meal to be a source of business.
Okay.
And which should not be the case. So you discover like there was that issue where some people are even coming as far as Mumbwa, Chongwe. You know, when they are known there that they have been buying that commodity, because when someone comes from Chongwe, are you telling me that all this area there is no way they can buy ZNS minimum? So they are changing locations where to access this minimum.
Okay.
And it seems that when they find a place where they can be going there to get it, and then they go and the packaging, restaurant issues. I think that was not the intention of the program.
So here the thing is that when they come from Chongwe, Mumbwa, they buy that mealie meal, they go and repackage. Then they begin to okay.
So that is a challenge which the program is facing, and we have seen the others are buying 5. But what I've noticed that for instance that area where the reporter went to chop is they have ensured that one person they buy at least one bag.
Okay.
But they are circumventing still that same arrangement where they come maybe 5 boys, they come 6 boys.
A human being being a human being.
Yes. So I think it's doing a disservice to the program, looking at that the minimum commodity has been affected by the market factors, and government came up with this arrangement to say no, we should help citizens. And those who are innocent, they are suffering from.
They are suffering. Like Miss Lydia there. In that particular clip where she was complaining about the same, about those that are coming from other parts of the country, just come and purchase the same mealie meal.
In Mumbai we have Choppies.
Choppies is there?
Yes, and it's also supplying the commodity.
But somebody is coming from Mumbai to come and buy. Okay, that's so unfortunate.
Let me just, we usher in our guest maybe at this moment. Let me just look at the Chilenge story of the scene. Traders at Lusaka's Chilenge market have expressed concern over alleged attempt by suspected United Party for National Development UPND cadres to remove them from the market. In an interview with Camnet News, one of the traders, Jane Kapenda, has criticized the actions of suspected cadres masquerading as Lusaka City Council workers and threatening the traders with displacement without valid reasons. Let's get into that story, and after we're going to have our guest in the studio for this morning.
Traders at Lusaka's Chilenge market have appealed to the government to intervene in a matter where suspected UPND cadres masquerading as Lusaka City Council workers have threatened to displace them without notice and for no apparent reason. In an interview with Camnet News, one of the traders, Jane Kapenda, says the development is uncalled for as it will negatively impact the traders.
Tapapata tigwada pansi pawo tikunkula pali bendrama zamene timapeza pano chifukwa bonse tuoda bonse vodula tifuna batimvelele chifundo ekonomi yakosa unga wakosa njala yangena ba president tuvele chifundo tili pambuyo pano ndife bana banu muzatipeleka kuti mala mulali yonse tivomera.
Another trader, Royce Nawale, has expressed displeasure, stating that the current economic hardships will not favor the traders once displaced.
no manga tatuleetola wanu amakoini twadopeleshako na bena badopeleshako ngomo baletumira tukiraki ifwe tufume pano tuingire mukati era nokushapishafye kimono kwoda twode.
And another trader has questioned how the marketeers will survive, as many of them are widows and have families to feed.
And then the women that have stands here, they are widows. Some they are widows and some they do keep the fatherless kids. So now if they chase them today, balance survival, because now got maskuru, now got issues rentals, then na economy tidy win. Then ngababa tamfiaba na wababa na kashbakula survival.
Meanwhile, efforts to get a comment from Lusaka City Council proved futile by broadcast time as their phones went unanswered. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka. After a month of being in existence, the United Qua Alliance FUTA has finally appointed former Minister of Development and National Planning, Lucky Mlusa, as its Secretary General, stating that it is one of the first major steps of the alliance taking course of its duties. At a media briefing in Lusaka, at New Heritage Party Secretariat, newly appointed Secretary General Lucky Mlusa says the formation of Qua as an alliance is to wrestle power to restore the people of Zambia, to align them to achieve the Vision 2030 objective.
Power from those that come in and give back the trust that Zambians give them with something else other than repayment, appreciation for the gift that they were given. And I want everybody here to go away knowing that the UPND never ever won the elections in 2021. It was simply the people that wanted to see something else, but what they got is something that they regret every single day.
Meanwhile, following a letter by our Civic Duty Association OCIDA chairperson, Archbishop Telesfo Mpundu, addressed to the American ambassador to Zambia, Michael Gonzalez of United States of America, to impose economic sanctions, travel bans and restrictions of President Hakainde Hichilema and top government officials owing to the alleged shrinking democratic space and abuse of human rights in the country, the United Qua Alliance FUTA has called upon President Hakainde Hichilema to address this matter in Parliament on Friday as he addresses the nation. He adds that the letter should be treated as a matter of concern, as it is the first time such calls are being made in Zambia.
Include all the matters which are in the OCIDA letter. Those are the issues that are supposed to be addressed in the address to Parliament tomorrow. Everybody, therefore, is going to be waiting for that address. Zambians are keenly looking to see how President Hakainde will respond to the serious allegations in the OCIDA letter. The Americans are going to be wide awake to see if President Hakainde has credible and believable answers to the questions raised in the OCIDA letter. International and local investors will make decisions as to whether or not to invest in Zambia, depending on how President Hakainde will be able to provide proof that there should be no worries concerning continued abuse of state institutions like the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Independent Broadcasting Authority, the Zambia Police Service, the National Assembly of Zambia, and the judiciary.
Governance expert and human rights advocate Wesley Mianda has however condemned the letter, describing it as saddening.
That we have actually our own citizens who have gone that far to try and tarnish the name of the government. No, we need to maybe take advantage of the open door policy that has been provided by this government to see how we can interact with the people that are in the corridors of power and bring all our issues before them so that we see how they can be resolved without necessarily going to that level. So,
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Coming to a close of the segment where we do zoom in headlines, that is the Qua Alliance there, and also concluding with the human rights, with the governance expert there commenting on their sentiments. They want the president today, as he addresses Parliament, to address the issue of OSIDA in Parliament?
It's laughable. But look, as a political journalist, I think there are many political issues that the president has to address. But I don't think a letter that the person who allegedly authored it hasn't responded to give their position, and its members are saying it didn't have blessings from the organization itself. And you want the president to go to Parliament and begin to address the nation regarding a letter. For me, I think there are many important matters. We have the drought, we have the El Nino effects that we are currently going through. And I think the Zambian citizens, the most important thing that they want the president to address is the cost of living, high cost of living, high cost of doing business, the fuel pump prices, the kwacha fluctuating. I think those are some of the issues. The employment also, when it comes to young people, and obviously these empowerment funds and how to access them. Unlike going there to begin to respond to a letter that whose author is seemingly unknown, because the members are saying it doesn't have blessings. The purported author also, his phone is off, we can't reach him. So for me,
that's the opposition for you. That's the opposition for you.
I've got reservations.
However, this morning I did mention that we are going to have the guest in the studio. One of our guests is in the studio this morning, which is FFTUZ General Secretary, who is Mr. Mwale. Mr. Mwale, good morning.
Good morning, comrade. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you this morning?
Thank you so very much. I'm Federation of Free Trade Union of Zambia Secretary General. Yeah. So at the motherboard, it's Secretary General.
Secretary General.
Indeed.
All right.
Mr. Mwale, you seem to have a burning issue that has come forth due to the ZESCO load shedding schedule that was released or put in effect on the 11th. Just bring us up to speed. What is happening with some employers out there?
Yeah, indeed, as a nation, it's regrettable that we have this ZESCO crisis where load shedding is the talk of the day. And so, unfortunately, in law, we would call it force majeure, where one would give a defense because a particular situation is an act of God. A drought is actually an act of God. Though sometimes we do talk about climate change and so on. Yeah, but I think as a center, we are receiving disturbing reports where some employers in certain sectors, especially in the private sectors, in the industries, other, working areas where employers are now trying to capitalize on the power outages in disadvantaging the workers in terms of their salaries, in terms of their allowances. Remember during COVID-19, where we have had a challenge where some owners of private schools said, no, you teachers, you were not working, and so we cannot pay you according to the way we pay you throughout. And so we are seeing the same now replicating in other industrial activities, where some investors are telling the workers, you remember yesterday, from 8 hours up to 14 hours you did not work, and so it would be unjustifiable for me to give you a complete salary. It would be unjustifiable for me to give you a complete allowance according to the way I give you. I think we are calling upon employers not to take advantage of this crisis. Our workers are not, the architect of the load shedding that we are going through. Okay? Neither is anyone an architect of what we are going through. So we are calling upon the employers to treat workers in terms of remuneration accordingly, without taking advantage of the power outages that are going on to disadvantage people in terms of what they deserve after rendering a noble service to a particular institution.
So, Mr. Mwale, you were saying that the load shedding should be ignored and the salaries should be intact.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, I would be so harsh if I said it should be ignored. But I'm saying the conditions of service for the workers in all sectors. Remember, when I speak about workers, as Secretary General for the Federation of Free Trade Unions, I'm talking about workers in all sectors.
Yes.
Okay? Because we are an umbrella body that is a consortium of various, worker representative unions. So we are saying we are receiving unconfirmed reports that in some industries, the investors, I hope it is not our own Chinese investors, because they've been a culprit in a number of issues to do with abrogation of what the law provides.
Okay.
So we are saying, can people stick to what our workers have been enjoying as conditions of service and not abrogating because there's a power outage? Our workers out there in those companies are not an architect of the power outage. They are willing to work. For example, in an industry making tropicals, people are willing to work, but there's no power. So it's not out of their own making. And we have employers that are deliberately avoiding alternative energy, producing systems like, solar and so on. These are gen sets, and they are avoiding them. They are saying it's very expensive.
They are avoiding to join us because even now we are running on a gen set.
On a gen set?
Yeah. So now you must provide an exemplary activity yourself. You are able to broadcast this, program out of the use of the gen set. So we are calling upon people to accept, the employers to accept that load shedding has come. We cannot point a finger at government. We cannot point a finger at whoever. It's the act of God. Load shedding has come, much attributed to drought. Okay. But again, we want to remind government that I think this is a wake-up call. We must ensure that alternative energy sources are quickly brought on board. The solar energy, these other energies that are not actually a disadvantage to the environment, they must be brought on board, and sensitization must be done to the masses. Otherwise, the way things are, we must accept that this is the direction.
What you have there, and as we let you go, what you have there are unconfirmed reports. What further actions are you?
No, we are getting on the ground as a federation of Free Trade Union of Zambia. Should we find that whatever is unconfirmed comes out to be truth, I think we'll not sit in our offices. We'll be on the ground to find out, of course, working with the Office of the Labour Commissioner to ensure that whoever is abrogating what the law provides is brought to book, especially our Chinese investors. They've been very, very unfriendly, especially in the mining sector. And before I even close, I'm calling upon government to ensure that issues surrounding Vedanta and the other stakeholders in the mining industry are resolved amicably for the sake of our employees in the mining sector that have cried for a very, very long time, and they seem to be light at the end of the tunnel. Can this be, put to fruition so that at the end of the day, our workers benefit? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mwale, for making a short appearance on our program this morning. We're just going for a short break, and after that, we are having the General Secretary for the leadership movement with us in the studio to look at economic affairs, as well as also the President today is addressing the nation, and that is concerning on the issue of application of values and just a
response.
Yeah.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel. Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, media news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
You are watching the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We are in the last segment where we are having an interview with Secretary General for the Leadership Movement, Mr. Ngoma. Mr. Ngoma, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and we want to appreciate the wonderful place we call it home. And as we stand right now, I think it's very cardinal that we should look at issues where it borders on the Ubuntu, the love, and the love borders on the food. Zambians, we meet pali chakudya, not vizungu. So one sanga kambe chizungu muntu na njala. So we should be looking at how can we better our economy, more especially the weaker citizens in these townships. So as leadership movement, our buzzword has been always production. So when we talk of production, we mean local production, where Zambians should be, I just want to highlight on that one that Zambians should be given the leeway in their local economy so that they participate fully, not where you put your firstborn called foreigner, then you will be having miseries in this society. So we need a Zambia where policies should be well tailored that every one of us, including the media houses, you should be thriving. As we are talking, you are struggling with your wage bills because business out there is not thriving. That's the point I wanted to make.
All right, I think before we even go into the discussion, how is the party, Mr. Ngoma?
Thank you very much. We can safely say leadership movement, we've been very consistent. We're just coming from by-elections. And if you've been following, we have set a template for the country because we were dribbled in Chawama in the 2021 general election. Our candidate was bought off. This time around, the same thing happened in Mayembe there. I think in most media houses we circulated, we told them, leadership movement has come to serve the Zambian people with values. If you are a member of leadership movement and you are on the line, you are a candidate, you may not choose to misuse the resources. You resign. It's either you resign before or after. What happened? We wrote to ECZ, I personally wrote to ECZ, to Madam Priscilla, as I said, Patricia, to say, we as a party, the purported resignation is nowhere near us and we have never received anything. So you go ahead. It has never happened where an opposition can write to the ECZ and direct them. Because we know what goes on. Once you trigger an election, you discover that the money that we are talking about, it is affecting the poor people. So now, having gone through the Mayembe, we are now challenging the nation to say, is it true that that article where a candidate should be free, Brother Tapera, is free to resign and say, no, are we not posing a danger to the nation? Okay. So we want now to bring the ideology to say, let's serve the masses, because what can happen during that general election may bring the country to a standstill.
Oh yeah, your councillor there did resign.
Yes, but it wasn't really resignation, because as I said, when you have reported for work, for example here at the office, you not leave this program until you finish it. So if you leave it before it, they will not accept that Mwaleka is a program. So for us, that candidate, in as far as we are concerned, we are the sponsors. So if we are to write like our friends, like Citizen First, they wrote to ECZ.
Was there an invisible hand? Was he influenced to resign?
What was so fun is that he was in the blog of PF for some reasons, and we were surprised. How come all over? And we said, forget about these people, because us, We value, even if we may hate the UPND so much, but where the Ubuntu is, because as we've been challenging the UPND, don't waste your time on these by-elections. In fact, those resources should be taken now to where the president has said that he has declared the national disaster, the drought as a national disaster, so that no more by-elections. Those monies now, we want to see where they are claiming, the defense and what. So what are we saying? Our being on the block, we have brought sanity, because before we came in, there were insults on this political block. You could get them, but now we have brought the values. So what are we saying? On these by-elections, we used to get zeros.
Okay.
Leadership movement, 0. Sakiwa Mumba during those, the 2021 general elections. But this time around, you discover that we are penetrating, our messages are being bought, though this game is not CR1 or game, because we are in Maembe, where in Maembe there, you could discover that on the day when people at social cash transfer is being distributed, we were in Frida.
So there was vote buying.
These are not the reflection of the people. There is actually, they even kill chickens, give them 200 quarters. But because, as we understand that the real game here are Zambian people. Okay. So we need to deal with the mindset. Because Swanga was reduced kuma chicken. Swanga was reduced kumombe. And they were even removing number plates for some officials' vehicles. They go, if it's a tap award, car school, they turn it into a place where now people are cooking, giving bicycles and all that. We said, this is not different. Even in the previous regime, we used to have this very thing. So what we need to do now as a leadership movement is to try and take the innovation, the ideology to the people and tell them that you are not worth a t-shirt, you are not worth a chitenge. This is why leadership movement has never been a supporter of this regardless. See what happened in Eastern Province. Those cadres who were leased to Eastern Province, as long as one was in a particular regard, they were brutalized big time. So what are we saying? Politics should be a place where bankable ideas should come in, and we need to take advantage of what is there. So when you ask us
now for Kingsley Machila, who's watching from Mazabuka, the Swedish town, what are you going to tell him regarding the economic situation that Zambia is currently facing? Remember, the president declared the drought, the El Nino, the effects of El Nino as a national disaster. What are you going to tell him in an event that you, the leadership movement, form government and Zambia is faced with a similar situation which it is currently facing right now? What assurance are you going to give to Kingsley Machila from Mazabuka regarding how you are going to address it?
Thank you very much, colleagues and the viewers out there.
Okay.
Zambia is endowed with the resources, as we are talking. We have the minerals. This land is our birthright.
Okay.
Everything is anchored, as we are talking right now. Go at Kasisi, the Chinese are extracting our own gold. Go at Kanyerere gold, that is in Pika there. Failing to pick our own gold, and you give 142,000 hectares to foreigners. So as the case of Mazabuka, the stampede which took place there is something that is disheartening, because in Eastern Province it was the same thing. Unfortunately, the president could not even mention it when he went there. But the Mazabuka one, there was even a combination of the aspect of outages. You saw what happened from 19 to 20 hours. The mayor went there trying to address the people. So for us, it will not be selective in terms of farm inputs, because let's face it, brother Smart and my brother here, it's not the entire country which is hit with drought. Let's be very physical and crystal clear. Okay. As we are talking right now, the rains are raining. By elections, it's raining. Look at the places. So in short, the northern region, it's raining. So if we are the minister or a government, because the head of state is a farmer, if we had said, okay, let's prioritize the aspect of agriculture, and I want every province, it should be given on time. Because what happened is, during the Intrala ceremony, the president gave an indication that in Eastern Province, they had early distribution of the farming inputs, which was not the case on the ground. Because Wagana to Mameda, as we are talking about. And Luapula, if you call Luapula Radio, they will tell you. You call Kwitonta, that is delight. They will tell you that people are getting in this. So are you telling us that Zambians have just gotten drunk to accuse this government, whilst the Minister of Agriculture is telling the Zambian in Parliament that 100% has distributed? So for leadership movement, our ball game will be different. Okay. Educated or not, major players in this context are farmers. So land, we need to title these pieces of land. Once you title them, it means now you, brother Hatembo, you are free now to go to nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. They will give you fertilizer going by the size of your piece of land. Because currently, brother Joe, is that on the NRC, there are no hectareage there where you can bench your argument to give farmers, if you mean to have food security. So if you need food security now, you mean your own people should be traceable. Oh, Wangoma, where's the piece of land in Chongo? Okay, show us your title deed. Okay, 50 by 50, you qualify for 50 by 50 urea.
So you are going to do away with the farmer input support program fees.
That is the lasting solution, because the MMD, when it brought that, it meant to help the peasant farmers. Okay. But now we are saying, before you go to your destination, you don't have to discard everything. Like these people did, they found maize to sell it before they could understand what production entails. For us, we are looking at the loopholes there. What is very crucial there is this NRC. On the NRC, you can't tell that farmer X has got where to really do the actual production. But with a title deed, you will be assured that, oh, this farmer, we have given him fertilizer based on this size of piece of land. And even if you have to make a follow-up, oh, Wangoma waiba ma fertilizer, they will follow. Wangoma waiba ma fertilizer. Oh, Wangoma munda wanu kulgwanzi. 50 by 50. Oh, tunakamba wapa mamba 50, wapansi, wazapenda. Ah, no. He's not a culprit.
Now, Ms. Angoma, we are talking about the current economic situations. You've given one aspect. Let's look at the high cost of living. How are you going to lower the high cost of living as leadership movement?
Thank you very much. The high cost of living, first thing first, it has to be understood that chirala, stikambati ichi chirala chabura na iboma. Wamvesese vantu. You viewers get us very clear. Okay. Drought has been here. 1991, 1992, we had that drought. MMD, until it found the President Levy, Patrick Manawasa, may so rest in eternal peace. That period, President Levy Manawasa, at the time then we had Mdia Skatan, who was agriculture minister. There was an issue of the hunger like we are faced today. And I remember the late President Michael Sata telling President Levy Manawasa, can you accept the GMO? People who die. President Levy Manawasa said, no, we have the organic maize here and we are going to produce. Records are there. What did we see? Those people at the policies where they fought. And as we are talking, the MMD rain during Levy, this is how they left the mark of winter maize today. But these people cannot mention that the winter maize was started by Levy. They think they are the architects. And we are the people who are talking about ZNS run state farms. And when we are bringing these ideas, people are laughing at us, brother. In capitalist, liberalize the economy, how can you bring? Man, on the 10 points plan, where have they gotten the ZNS? No, we need men and women in uniform. What we are telling the Zambian people is that once you are hit with such, you bring everybody on board, educated or not, labor being what it is. You need now the government. Look at Zimbabwe, for example. They've gone to Belarus. They got 13,000 high-tech tractors. Okay. Out of the 13, 2,000 have reached them. For us, look at our priority. How do you go and prioritize? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, buying these CDF Land Cruisers. Imagine if we had the priority to say, okay, because these people didn't have the anticipation of this drought today. No, they had thinking, most people, they were in opposition for 20 plus years. So they were supposed to be more prepared now to say, no. Priority, if Marandi Cruiser out, let's resuscitate nitrogen chemicals of Zambia, so that the poor villager, who you say poor village, these are the people who are feeding the nation. So Dr. Richard Sirumba and leadership movement, the difference will be ourselves who prioritize the labor that we have, the human capital. We have the resources. As we are talking, brother Joy and my brother here, we have uranium here in Zambia. Okay. This uranium, it is found where? In Solwezi, northwestern. We were supposed to be entertaining now the lasting solution to the problem of production, because you cannot talk of production without the source of energy. In this context, look at Russia. They are maximizing the uranium that you have in the nuclear power plants. As we are talking, America, they are getting the green energy from Russia. But here, we are told, no, solar. For God's sake, we are talking as engineers ourselves. The solar has got merits and demerits. So when it is sunny, you will be saying you are good to go. But look at Abu Dhabi, it's a desert. So that place is blessed in terms of the sun intensity, and you don't need to cut swaths and swaths of trees. Here you have the hydro, which depends on the rain patterns, meaning trees are a factor. So now, if you want to bring a foreign technology, it means you turn your country into a desert. You see what you are doing? So you have a mineral which does not know a drought. So what do you do? You look at, go at UTH today. You are going to find this X-ray. We are already in the technological age. There is lead sheet around that place which protects the gamma rays. In carbon we have lead. In the very carbon we have boron, which we used to ignite in the power plant. So now the solution was let's go into business full throttle, because
but isn't that capital intensive?
No. You have, what is capital? You have right now. How much money did we intercept at Kapirimposh there? Sujrite, all the way from Mansa. So look at Kanyelele God, fearing to pick our own God. So money is a medium of exchange. You need to have a product to sell out there or a service to offer. Now ask yourself, if under the state we were supposed to prioritize to start controlling our own mines, and you create the Mineral Reserve Agency under the Bank of Zambia, allow what you call the Jerabos, those are your capital, give land, the what we call the inheritance now, meaning the what we call surface rights and underground rights, meaning Bambo, you are free to grow your maize, take to FRA, they will not ask you a license. Okay. But when you drill a bore, you discover your minerals. Hey, you are illegal mine. You remove those laws. You as a state now, you start buying, give a price. Oh, you people, as long as you have land, whatever is on your land is yours. So bring to the state will be buying. The president, when he goes to Abu Dhabi now, is saying, you the media, you are taken now.
So, Mr. Ngoma, you're going to reappeal and amend certain laws as leadership movement as you come into government.
My brother, the president took 2 years to remove death penalty. What complication was there? Within 2 years, they removed the death penalty. So even us, these laws which are treating Zambia, because these are colonial laws, by the way, they were inherited by our forefathers, so that we remain dwarf, small, continue looting our resources in the name of capacity. Now ask yourself, if you talk of resources, you can go into the barter system. Right now, Bambo Russia is looking where to sell its resources to do with oil, because China is going there. And India.
Do you have the money as Zambia? Remember when the UPND came through, they told us that the coffers were empty, and being a third world country, we don't have capital for ourselves. We depend on donors. Do you have the money, Mr. Ngoma?
My brother, money is a medium of exchange. We have already stated here. We have our God, which, ask UK, they don't even have a single mine.
So we're going to exchange our God.
That is the point. You remember UK when they were hit with the crisis. What did they do? They went to activate their God on the international market. Now you are sitting on your, if in southern province you have lithium, which we use for electric car batteries. You have nickel, which you can again, that is money spinner, that is your resource. Look at Lusaka, we have limestone here. This cement that you are seeing is coming from the very Portland cement is coming from limestone.
I want to mortgage the country, Mr. Ngoma, as you come into government, because you are talking about exchanging our minerals, our gold, our copper for capital from these other foreign countries. Are you not going to mortgage our country? By the time you live in 5 years, there will be nothing in Zambia to look forward to. What will be left?
What we should come to understand is that before this generation, our forefathers used to control the mines. Now ask yourself, this generation, up to speed, we sold all those properties.
Okay.
And is it true that this country we cannot go into business? Is this what we are saying? Because when you buy a phone known as Samsung, this is a product of South Korea. They have Quas there. They are controlling it. Look at Huawei phone. It is made by the Republic of China. So where the disease? We have the resources here. What mortgage are you talking about? Because we need now to be the actual architects now, because we have resources. So when you look at Russia, you say, Bambo Russia, give us some barrels of your fuel, diesel, because we want to go into production, but we don't have liquidity. We have our gold here at the Bank of Zambia, so get so much tonnages, give us your barrel. In India, how much are we owing? We have plenty of the forest here. You can even teach us how to extract some of these drugs, because we think these drugs are coming from, they are coming from the very forest we have. Okay. So what we are simply trying to educate ourselves is that we should not think of the paper. Bambo Putin told President Joe Biden, keep your papers, keep your dollar, and we will remain with our production. Look at Russia today. Russia is growing at 3 GDP % in terms of their production. And Russia, on the Women's International Day, as we are saying, where they seem to say, no, we are going to invest in women and girls to accelerate progress. Russia just a simple statement, women, you are beautiful. Your job is to make babies. 2024 is a year of family, simple. Let me tell you, Bambo Russia knows the powers of the numbers. Because he knows once we have a lot of our population increasing, that entails production. Russia today is standing in this war because, before you come in, the numbers will lead you to have what we call this so-called production. Because you cannot talk of production when you don't have the numbers.
But you have to plan for a population, Mr. Ngoma.
This is why in the Bible, God says, go and work, and I'll bless the labors of your hands. That's what God is telling us. Okay. So now where are you getting the phobia? Vanzanu, they are using their own resources. Now here's the mismatch. You are talking planning. I want to pay the milis. For a good period of years, which you could feed. They went straight into selling. The president comes into a position to address the nation that, we have this drought, so it's a disaster now. So what do we see? You, men and women, we want you to go into winter maize. The how methodology, tifuna masulile. Ngawazanda na madamu, ngawazanda na maboros. But a few days, you have a minister of information telling the nation, no, there is no panic, we have enough food. If it was leadership movement, such a one, we fire instantly. Before you come in, let's move on. No, I want to qualify a point. It's very, very important. Because let me finish. The point I'm trying to tell the Zambian people is that we need the cohesion in the governance. You cannot be told that tina chirala, then we what are you saying? What we want is the head of state. When he is speaking, he should have the house in order. Who are we going to follow now? The information minister is telling us something. Don't panic. The president, because when you bring a state of emergency, it means when you panic. That's why we are saying a bash to buy elections. Then you come to have a person telling you, no, we have plenty and you are busy unveiling the tents. So we are telling the Zambian people that the way to go is when we make Zambia have this land. Once we have the land, we should be landlords. When we are landlords, these people now, we should partner with them, just like Ispat Mo. When you go at Unza, that piece of land, it is under the University of Zambia. Those developers are renting. Similarly, with here at is it Novera here at St. Mary's, this piece of land belongs to St. Mary's. So that's the value of the land. So for us, we are going to spend most of our time on the periodic Chakudia. You cannot be calling names, people. No, you are Lucifers. You can't go that route. So what we are telling Zambians out there is that for this country to come out of the state it is
as you conclude, Mr. Ngoma.
As I'm concluding.
I want, as you conclude, today the president is addressing the nation on the update on the application of values and principles. It's going to be in parliament. As you conclude, just make it brief, maybe just 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Zambia has known to be a Christian nation. First thing first, the president, before going to this so-called values, we call it so-called because the president, when you, the media, you were asking at the heroes there about the water situation going by cholera. He said, the oppositions are the witches and they are the black mambas. And for us, we have made it very clear that the opposition are the Zambian people. Manje, how can you call Zambians names as Mibobo? Ingoshe. Wangale Mfwiti. Manje Mfwiti na zebe zifuniko kudia. Then Njoka na zebe zifuniko kudia. These are living things. So, we needed the president to make an apology to the Zambian people, ask for forgiveness, because you can't call people names. How can you call voters to be Njoka, to be Mibobo?
So that didn't sit well with you.
It is not well in a Christian nation. What values are we giving? Because even your SG, for the church just to say, Sumungaje Magrafu, he calls my church at Malusi, then Wangala. Such a one was supposed to be disciplined. The head of state was supposed to go make peace with the Catholics, so that Mkambat, Tiani Manje Kumapendero, Mvura ya Tivuta. Yes, not where you say, no, we are going to have values. And which values? Because in Eastern Province, you saw what happened during the celebrations. Or those values where you get cadres from Lusaka here to go and terrorize the people of Eastern Province.
Those allegations, Mr. Ngoma.
Not allegation, we are on the ground there. They were beaten, let me tell you. When you are the t-shirt of UKA, you were brutalized. When you are the t-shirt of SP, brutalized. So is this something that we can hide here? These are vices which can turn this country to another level.
Do you have proof? Because these are serious.
The issues of proof is not something that just
don't
take a call.
Cited for anything.
Listen, my brother. Let me tell you, as I'm talking to you, the first thing the president was supposed to do was.
Do you have evidence?
The evidence is everywhere. Just go. In Eastern Province, as I'm talking to you.
Have it.
My brother, let me tell you one thing. You have a sister company there. You have Chipata TV. Call them right now. Find out, say, on the Youth Day celebration, before this, what happened? There was a stampede. Kavula Mungu there. People there were running for the meal. Choppies, ShopRite. It was not something.
We're talking about the beating, Mr.
The beating. That's what I'm telling you. Listen. What I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that for me to be talking as SG, we are coordinating the 10 provinces. Yesterday we were having a program at Smooth FM. As I'm talking to you, just go and follow the footage there. People are talking for themselves, being beaten up. And this
by who?
We're talking about UPND cadres here.
I want to know, Mr. Ngoma.
The UPND cadres were ferried. Wanawatenga nchizungu hicho. Wanatenga wantu kuno, wapeleka kuchipata Youth Day celebration.
Okay.
For some reasons, as long as you are in a legalia, which was meaning something to them, they would do panel beat such a one. So, what I'm trying to tell the Zambian people here, before this, the president should explain to the Zambian people what has happened to his calculator, because he told us, I'm solving at 10 hours, 14 hours, the dollar, the how patient within 4 hours, we don't know what kind of mathematics he was doing. How about the fertilizer distribution and the preparedness? We are not saying that they are the ones who brought the Chilala, but Chilala has been there, so they cannot try to hide under Chilala. Ni planning, wanapeza vakuja abantu, because my businessmen kanjira kama loan. Tinabauza isa indene mwende mulime, lelo wamubera kuli manje wa leadership movement na ZNS run state farms. So now, in conclusion, the head of state should quickly address the aspect of the deficit of the power, because as we are talking now, here we are running on a generator. Diesel is very expensive, and very few, we should salute you management here, because it's under very difficult conditions. As I'm talking to you, in Mazabuka, once power goes, even schools are affected, because they don't have the capacity to store their water. So once power goes, it means even children again are affected worse, because these schools will say, so are you seeing we are coming from Korea? So this was supposed to do a waiver on all electrical gadgets, which entails your economy to tick. The generators, the diesel, that's why we are telling them they're supposed to go to Russia.
I think the has done that, Mr. Ngoma.
Now look at your economy. That's what we are saying. How many people are going to manage? That's why when we was talking about center pivot in Eastern Province, we were laughing.
As we go, Mr. Ngoma, the issue that has to do with the defense forces coming up with agricultural farms, it was a concept that the UPND has allegedly stolen from you as leadership movement.
Check on that 10-point plan.
Mr. Ngoma, that is your job.
No, that's why we are telling them now. The proper way of doing that is where you get educated or not.
You are giving alternatives.
Yes,
some of them can be adopted.
So now we need to tell them we have the solutions. Okay. That's why now we are telling them that when we are talking, they were laughing, thinking we are jokers. Now they have come from capitalist, from liberalized economy to nationalistic agenda, where a country should have control. This is why today ZDS was supposed to be positioned where you give food security to the country now, because you have what it takes. So in this context, we are going to make sure that these ZDS who are manning the border should be going back to the production. And the ZAF For us, it will be one soldier manning a state farm, because these civilians, once they see a combat, they behave. Mani mutenge camp yose, atumende kulima. Because of the 4 million plus young people, you have a defense. So you just assign one soldier, go and handle our young people there, who are energetic. When you go that route, then these are defending your country now. In an event where people are trying to invade you to get your maize, these other forces now can go and the soldier owner, like shooting our own son. You remember what happened in Mfrira, a 15-year-old. So that was forex. Now, if we are to summarize, we are saying, sorry?
Ms. Angoma, we have to end here. I think we have discussed a number of issues. We have touched across a number of issues, as well as a number of allegations, which we hope that we are going to have the ruling party, especially on some issues, that they will also come on the show to have their views, because this platform is for everyone. And it has been awesome, Joe, we must say.
It has been awesome. We've had here Mr. Ngoma that has alluded to so many issues, and revealing to the nation now that the state farms and ZNS, Zambia Army and Zambia Air Force coming on board, it was actually a leadership movement agenda. According to you, Mr. Ngoma, right?
Yes, actually, records are already plenty all over. The media follow it.
Okay, and also we had Mr. Nelson Mwale from FFUZ, representing FFTUZ. Thank you for the correction, affairs, representing the employees.
Yeah, in light of the load shedding and the concerns that are emanating from the industry. Yes. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of the show for this morning. Thank you very much for having found time to join us. Till next time, this has been Affairs, and on behalf of Mr. Elijah in transmission, Mr. Joe here and our guest, thank you very much for watching.
Appreciate it.